Hello, fellow music nuts. It's me, Cubby, with another personal spin, and today I am reviewing Lodger by David Bowie. I've taken the book out. This album is interesting for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it comes at the end of the trilogy. It's considered part of the trilogy, even though it was recorded in Switzerland, nowhere near Berlin, and it was released in 1979. There's a very clear style shift between this and the previous two albums, in that there are no really long instrumental synth pieces. I don't know why. Maybe he just got bored or didn't want to do those anymore. And also you could kind of tell that Bowie was moving on from that style. He wanted to get back to song based stuff. Obviously with Bowie there's always a certain experimental character to it, regardless of what album you're listening to. He's always experimenting with stuff. This is probably one of his most experimental albums, actually. It opens up with a sort of quite a simple short song called Fantastic Voyage. It's less than 3 minutes long, and it's quite good, actually. It's quite catchy. But then immediately after that song, the album sort of goes into a kind of bizarre path, really. There's a good series of songs, first half of the album in fact, really, that is largely percussion based. There's not much melody. The only real melody comes from Bowie's vocals, which I have to say actually kind of sound a bit tired. And all the songs have a theme about travelling, or at least they do on the first half anyway. With such songs as Moving On, Fantastic Voyage, The Assassin, and Red Sails. It's interesting, unlike most Bowie albums, which do tend to get less good the further on they go, this album kind of works backwards, and I find that the more interesting but less catchy songs are at the beginning, and then the better songs come sort of in the middle, towards the end. So African Night is interesting. It's interesting because Bowie sort of raps one of the lyrics really fast, and then there's an African chant, and then lots of percussion, but not much melody. Move On. It's more simple. It's kind of got a new wavy sound to it, but again, there's not much melody. It's largely sort of vocal led, which is interesting. Then further on in the album, you have Red Sails and DJ and Look Back in Anger, which are more sort of typical Bowie songs. They have the Bowie character, but a more rock orientated sound, more bass line type work, and jangly. There's kind of a jangly guitar sound to it too. Bowie also has his first attempt at reggae with The Assassin, which I quite like, actually. It's quite catchy with that refrain that goes, "Yeah, assassin." It's quite good. Overall, though, I find the album to be a little bit sort of all over the place and very sort of. He clearly wanted to change what he was doing but didn't know how, and so released a sort of a medley, if you like, of weird experimental stuff and sort of more straight up rock songs. And that's the general gist of Lodger. It was generally seen as kind of a weak album when it was released, but has since been sort of not commercially, critically acclaimed, for reasons unknown to me, because I still don't think it's one of his best. I do find it to be one of his less good ones, and the production for me is quite weak. It's kind of flaccid. It's very loose, very loose. It's not tight. Even on the rockier songs, it's quite loose and flaccid and placid, and sort of messy. Like the overall sound is quite messy. There's no sort of tightness to it, which might be why it didn't do so well commercially, because it doesn't grab your attention because it's so flaccid. So overall, I'm giving this one a 6.5 out of 10 drums. I like the fact that it's experimental. I just wish it had been a bit more focused. So for me, it's a kind of a 6.5. I've listened to it quite a few times, and I've struggled with it, if I'm really honest. It's not my favourite, but it's not my least favourite either. So there we go. I can't get that in. Right. So thank you for watching. I have been Cubby. This has been a personal spin. If you like my stuff, please like and subscribe, and thank you for supporting the channel. You can catch me on Instagram under a personal spin or Cubby, and I will chat to you later. I've got more videos coming. Thank you very much. Goodbye.